Hi, I'm Kamali, taking you through the stories people are talking about and sharing around the world on NewsFeed today. Pageant Payback, a beauty queen gives back her crown. We'll tell you why.
And to mock a movement that has empowered survivors to stand up, that is completely inappropriate.
He walked for 11 months to get to Palestine and the Israelis barred him entry. We catch up with Benjamin Ladraa. Tournament trim, the barbers styling some of the biggest names at the World Cup.
What about the wave?
And go your own nay, the horse who loves the Mac is our animal doing stuff today. Top of our newsfeed, beauty pageant fail. Now, you don't need me to remind you of our feelings about these anachronistic, offensive, and just plain weird shows put on in America and around the world. We are against them. They're degrading to women and to humanity more widely. What lessons are we teaching our children when we have competitions that you win based on how you look? Anyway, that rant's done. Let's tell you how one of these shows from an era that should be resigned to the history books failed in a very 2018 way. The Miss Massachusetts pageant was being held, and Maud Gorman, who recently won Miss Plymouth County, was listening backstage to the host to a skit about Miss America. Yes, all these things still exist, when the host made a joke about the Me Too movement.
This is the crown.
Miss America did away with the swimsuit competition. We may have very well seen the last ever swimsuit competition on stage. It's very upsetting. And I'm trying to understand, God, why it happened.
Me too, Andy.
Now, Maud didn't find it funny. I'm not even sure I get it. So she took to social media to get her voice heard. Writing on Instagram, she said that she had resigned her title in response, declaring, as both a survivor and an advocate for victims' rights and sexual violence on the whole, I refuse to stand idly by and simply let this go. Well, she also went on traditional media to reinforce the point.
And to mock a movement that has empowered survivors to stand up, that is completely inappropriate, and especially with a women's empowerment organization, should be unacceptable.
And I don't need to remind you of the short shrift we give to sorries that come after someone has done something so patently stupid or offensive to render their apology meaningless. First, the pageant itself. Rather than apologising for existing, it said, the Miss Massachusetts Board of Directors offer our sincere and heartfelt apology for those offended by Saturday night's skit. The skit was not in the script and was not authorised by the board. Now that is a classic one. You don't apologise for the thing, you say sorry that people were offended. It's essentially the audience's fault for the host's crass comments. Now that's one of my favourite sorries not sorry, but we're not done. There's more. The hosts, of course, felt compelled to say sorry too. He wrote, the skit was meant as a satirical poke at those who get upset that swimsuit is going away. It was intended to be a nod to the Me Too movement, not a knock on it. He then added, as a male survivor of sexual assault, it was never my intention to insult or malign a movement that has done so much good for so many of us. Heartfelt apologies to everyone who thought the joke went too far and was hurt by it. And there you have it. A pageant from an event from a bygone age puts on a show that's embarrassing to all involved and results in one of the contestants quitting. Maybe it's time that all these competitions, through the evening dress, the swimsuit and the towel, into the 50s where they belong. Thoughts on a postcard or in the comments. Now, extreme weather in Japan has left more than 100 people dead in recent days. The emergency rain warning has been lifted, so there is some respite, but people are still missing, and many villages have been destroyed. right, time for a look at what else has been trending on social media.
It is my honor and privilege to announce that I will nominate Judge Brett Kavanaugh to the United States Supreme Court.
Now, he made it a primetime announcement like the series finale of The Apprentice, but in reality, it could be the final nail in the coffin of liberal rulings on the Supreme Court of the United States, and maybe the death knell for a women's rights to choose an abortion. Donald Trump has put forward Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court. And Trump's 9 p.m. announcement didn't just dismay half the country, it really upset fans of The Bachelorette, which was interrupted because of it. These are from Twitter. First, this screen grab of Brett Kavanaugh's daughter. The tweeter nicely adds, "When you just want to finish watching the episode, but your dad gets appointed, whatever, hashtag The Bachelorette." This one says Obama would never do such a thing. And this one has a picture of Trump himself about to make the announcement with the words, "This is the worst episode of The Bachelorette ever." I'd have to agree. Now, we have been following the epic journey of the activist Benjamin Ladraa here on NewsFeed. He's been walking from Sweden to Palestine to raise awareness of the occupation by Israel, the curfews they impose, and the brutal subjugation that they enforce on the Palestinian nation. Well, Benjamin is in Jordan and we can speak to him now. Benjamin, thanks for speaking to us again. First off, after such an epic journey, how are you feeling?
Well, it was not unexpected that they wouldn't allow me to enter Palestine, the Israeli forces. After all, I've been talking about their human rights violations for 11 months straight, every single day. It's a bit overwhelming to be finished with this journey, but of course the journey isn't over yet. It's over when Palestine is free.
Absolutely. Well, just talk us through some of the grounds that the Israeli authorities used to stop you getting into Palestine.
So that was an extremely tough day. It started with 12 hours of walking in the heat in the Jordan Valley. It's about 40 degrees hot, and 12 hours of that. And after, it was 6 hours of interrogation by the interrogator, the Israeli interrogator. And he kept on pushing. He wanted names, who I was going to meet, like names and telephone numbers. And I didn't really have any plans for inside of Palestine, since I was pretty much convinced they wouldn't let me in to begin with. He kept on pushing for where I was going to be, what I was going to do, who I was going to meet. And obviously the people I would have mentioned would have been in grave trouble if I would have mentioned them by name. So of course I didn't give any names. And they gave me 2 official reasons for not allowing me to enter. The first one was that they thought I was lying during the interrogation, which I was not. And the second one was that they accused me of having the intention of arranging a demonstration in the village of Nabi Saleh, the same village where Ahel Tamimi, the 16-year-old girl that slapped a soldier and got imprisoned, is from. And for any democratic state to use like the intention of arranging a demonstration as an excuse of not allowing someone to enter into their country, it says a lot about their thoughts on freedom of speech, freedom of dissent, and their democracy in general, I think.
Well, essentially, it's like pre-crime. It's like that film Minority Report. Now, outside of what the Israelis did, the Palestinians have offered you citizenship. What did that mean to you?
Well, to be honest, they haven't contacted me about it, so I read it in the news just as everyone else did. And I think they should give me a call or something, right? I'm still not sure if that's the case, that they actually did it or not, or if it's just in the media, because I haven't been told about it. But obviously it's a degree of honor. But in the end, we don't have to be Palestinians to fight for justice and freedom and against occupation in Palestine and all over the world.
Precisely, it's one of the human conditions that we should all look out for each other. All right, Benjamin, what's next?
So, as I said, the journey didn't finish with me reaching the border. The quest for human rights to achieve a nicer world for everyone to live in is a long one. It's a protracted one. But it bends towards justice, as Martin Luther King said. So we just have to be in it for the long run. We have to continue with our activism. That's what I'm going to do for sure. I already have a lot of new plans and projects in mind. I've been on the road for 11 months, which gives you a lot of time to think what you can do in the future. So you can expect a lot more activism and a lot more projects from me, hopefully bigger and more effective than this one.
Well, it was very effective, Benjamin. You got your name in the news, and we'll hopefully be in touch when you start your next mission. Benjamin Ladraa, thank you so much for joining us, and well done. Now, it was a momentous and historical day here in Turkey yesterday. Hashtag Başkan Erdoğan was trending as President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan was sworn in as the Republic's president.
Yeni dönemde Türkiye demokrasiden temel hak ve hürriyetlere, ekonomiden büyük yatırımlara kadar her alanda daha ileriye gidecektir.
Recep Tayyip Erdogan has been sworn in as the first executive president of Turkey and announced his new cabinet on July 9th. Fuat Oktay, a former undersecretary of the Prime Ministry, became Turkey's first vice president. The number of ministers has been reduced from 26 to 16. 4 of the newly appointed ministers are from the parliament, and 12 ministers have been chosen for a ministry role for the first time. Hulusi Akar, the former chief of general staff, is now the Minister of National Defense. Rusar Pekcan, a businesswoman, was assigned as Minister of Commerce. In addition to the ministries, new bodies directly connected to the president were formed, including 9 councils, 8 directorates, and 4 offices. Thousands attended the inauguration ceremony, including 22 heads of state and 28 prime ministers from around the world.
All right, let's take you around the world for some other stories you need to know this Tuesday. Now, to lose one cabinet member is unfortunate. To lose 2 looks careless, but British Prime Minister Theresa May is fighting on. She's replacing 2 disloyal attention seekers and says she'll push forward with her plan for Brexit and looks secure enough for now. But 24 hours is a long time in politics.
In promotion. Order! Very unseemly atmosphere. I want to hear about these important matters. And I think the House should.
Now, YouTube is getting on with getting rid of those fake accounts. The video streaming sites say they will put $25 million into measures that may counter fake news and conspiracy pages on the site. Now, rather than just pull down vids it deems phony, it plans to invest in authoritative, their word, news, and will also make use of text during breaking news stories. The text will come from trusted sources. They're getting this in place in time for the November midterms in the United States. Well, it is semi-final day at the World Cup, which means 2 things. The tournament's almost over, and we can now show you this random video about a barber who's cutting the hair of some of the world's best players.
Instagram is so important right now. Not Instagram, just social media in general, because especially with barbering now, the barbering game is really improved. All the barbers, like when I follow barbers on Instagram, everyone's doing their thing, man. Oh Lord, what about the wig? What about the wig? Just said, listen, all the lads want a haircut. Can you come out? And yeah, I went out there, and then I went out there again 2 days ago as well. That was hard. I've done 14 people. That was crazy. But look, my eyes were hurting after. It's weird because listen, I want England to win, obviously, and I think it might be coming home. But when you see your haircuts, and even the commentator the other day mentioned me when they're playing football, you feel like something towards you. You want them to win. So yeah, it was good. It's good to see your haircuts on TV and that.
It's not coming home. And in Tuesday's Animals Doing Stuff, we have 2 firsts. 1, it's a horse. 2, it's a Fleetwood Mac fan. Now, 2 women were driving in Ontario, blaring Dreams by the Mac. They came upon this horse in the field, and then this happened. Well, that is your lot from the NewsFeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints and suggestions. I'm at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on Twitter, YouTube and Facebook. Follow, subscribe and add. See you again tomorrow.